Hi guys, welcome. And who dat? I'm Joe. Thanks for tuning in to Rosenfield 10, where I cover our beloved Bless You Boys in black and gold, the New Orleans Saints. Subscribe to my channel. You'll get all the Saints coverage. You'll get it from a fan who loves the Saints as much as you do. You want to know what I think, and then you let me know in the comments what you think. And we'll keep the Who Dat Nation strong and alive. And today we are covering day three of the 2025 NFL Draft for the New Orleans Saints. We had two fourth round picks, one sixth round pick, and two seventh round picks. And let's talk about it. Well, the day started off pretty strong, in my opinion, for the Saints. Our two fourth round picks actually felt like they were selected at the right spot, the correct value, and yeah, I kind of like both of them and mocked both of them to the Saints several times. So let's talk about round four, pick 112. The New Orleans Saints select linebacker Danny Stutzman out of Oklahoma. Danny Stutzman is a nice piece, I thought, in day three, a middle linebacker who's good against the run and who could learn behind Demario Davis. And it seemed like a nice fit if we didn't get any kind of linebacker help in the first 2 days. I figured Stutzman would be a good place to go. And I'm actually surprised we got him. I'm surprised that the Saints and myself locked in on a prospect in a round, and then it happened. I think day two was full of a bunch of reaches. And this one felt just right. So, Danny Stutzman, 6 foot 3 inches, 233 pounds. He's got an arm length of 32 and an eighth inch, and he's got a hand size of 9 inches. He's 22 years old, pretty decorated stat line when you're looking at tackles. He's a tackling machine, just like the safety Jonas Sanker from day two. We got us another thumper, another guy that's really good at tackling. So, something that we need, a versatile piece. He's going to play linebacker, and I'm hoping he can learn how to be on the outside as well as the inside. I kind of picture Pete Werner as an inside linebacker in a 3-4. But, you've got Jalen Ford on the team behind Demario Davis right now. And Danny Stutzman's going to be a guy there learning from the GOAT, who is Demario Davis, the ageless wonder, who may be our starting middle linebacker for a couple more years. Let's hope Stutzman can work his way into some special teams. I think he prides himself on that. And yeah, he's going to have to learn how to be an all-around linebacker as far as coverage goes. Like I said, being a presence on the outside would help as well. But that's the biggest knock on him, his coverage ability. I think he's got enough talent that he's a solid pick in round four. And if that's a kink you got to work out, that's okay. Um, he's a run stopper, so I think a lot of those linebacker pieces, those middle of the field pieces in this defense, they probably become safeties and extra cornerbacks, extra DBs when you're talking about pass protection. And then you've got yourself an obvious running down, and Danny Stutzman's a guy. Give him a couple of years behind Demario Davis to learn how to cover better. Davis is, legendary for coming down and stopping the run. So that's Stutzman's calling card, and yeah, we'll see what happens. I like the pick, though. The Saints had two picks in the fourth round, and with the second fourth round pick 131 in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select cornerback Quincy Riley out of Louisville. Quincy Riley, that is a guy that I was targeting in the fourth round, fifth round, day two. If we weren't able to address cornerback earlier, he was one of my favorite prospects, late round, day three prospects at cornerback. And I'm happy we got him. His measurables, 5 foot 10 and 5/8 inches. So we'll say right at 5'11", 194 pounds. He's got 31-inch arms, 8.5-inch hands. So he's really good in coverage. I think that he fits on the outside very well. Uh, he's not the fastest guy. He seems to be adept to man and off coverage and zone. So probably a little better suited for man, but these are some of the things you're going to work on. If you're a day three pick, you've got things to work on. His top end speed might not be great. He's 23 years old, and like I say, this, in my opinion, was a medium to pretty deep cornerback class. Take into account how the cornerbacks were ignored in the first two rounds, and all of a sudden DBs are getting pushed toward day three. And I guess that's a pretty good spot for the Saints. We needed a cornerback. We didn't address it early. One of the reasons we didn't is possibly because there was no big run on cornerbacks. You saw the usual suspects get taken where they were supposed to go, but pushed down a little further than most mocks, and from what I've seen. So, yeah, that was the spot to wait and to get one later, and it works out. Quincy Riley's one of those guys that I was targeting, and I think is going to fit into the system. He needs to work on being a better inside guy. So I'm not satisfied with his ability to tackle, which means he probably doesn't translate to play in nickel all that much. But these are some things he needs to work on, and until he gets the hang of that, he's going to have to be a presence on special teams. Jonas Sanker at safety, our third round pick safety, is a really good special teamer. So, there's a place for him, it seems like right away. And that's something Riley's going to have to do. I think he's got the ability to crack into the active roster here. He's got to compete with Isaac Yiadom for an outside spot, and then, everybody else after that. Like Rico Payton and Rajon Wright, two undrafted guys. I mean, Riley's a fourth round pick, so he's got the ability to come in and to take a spot from one of those guys, and I expect him to do it. I don't think that he's going to end up at nickel. I think that his best place is on the outside. Is he good enough to be our fourth cornerback? Well, we're going to see. I'm glad we took a chance on him in the fourth round. It's a play that I agree with, and it's something that I would have done had the chips fallen the way they have for the Saints. And so, in my opinion, the fourth round was a home run, getting Danny Stutzman at linebacker and Quincy Riley at cornerback. We don't have a pick in the fifth round, and surprisingly, we didn't trade up into the fifth round. We stuck and picked with our lone sixth round pick and our two seventh round picks. So, surprising, yes. Kind of glad we did it though, because we got a nice bargain in the sixth round with pick 184 in the 2025 NFL Draft. The New Orleans Saints select running back Devin Neal out of Kansas. And if you've been subscribed to my channel and watched my mock drafts, you guys know how much I love Devin Neal. I always thought he was a great back. If we missed on backs early, that was a guy to go and get. He reminds me of Pierre Thomas. He's not as dynamic as Pierre Thomas, but the patience, the fact that Pierre went undrafted because he wasn't fast enough, he wasn't strong enough, he wasn't agile enough, and yada, yada, yada. All he did was follow his blocks and gain yards. He could turn a screen into a touchdown just like that. Well, I see a lot of the same stuff in Devin Neal. Patient back, follow your blocks. He's good at whatever you ask him to do. It's probably better between the tackles, but he can do it all, including operating as a receiver in the passing game. I would like for him to get better as a pass protector, but that's one thing that he's done a lot of. He just needs to get better at it. But when I think of Devin Neal, I think of a three down back. You don't have to pull him out on third down. And he's not a speed guy, so you don't have that blazing speed, and then all of a sudden you're a day two pick. Well, falling all the way to the sixth round, I think it's great for the Saints. The measurables on Devin Neal: 5 foot 11 and 1/8 inches tall, 213 pounds. That's a big, thick boy for under 6 feet. He's got 29 and 5/8 inch arms and 8.5 inch hands. He's got some short arms, but he never had any issues with fumbling. He's only 21 years old right now, and he's put up a couple of years of 1,000 yard rushing at Kansas. Yeah, they're fun to watch. I watch Kansas a lot. I lived there for a brief moment in my life, and Kansas has some interesting prospects every year in the draft. I had a couple of people circled. I wasn't too high on their cornerbacks. I kind of liked the big offensive tackle as a developmental guy, but Devin Neal to me was the man I drafted for the Saints out of Kansas constantly this offseason. He's probably in my top five most mocked players to the Saints because I think the running back class was great in this class. As a matter of fact, I believe whatever undrafted rookies the Saints bring in at running back are going to be really good. That's how deep this class was. And we get a good one in Devin Neal. No, he's not going to blow the roof off. As a matter of fact, if he breaks it out into the clear open, he might get drugged down before he reaches the end zone. Oh, well, like I said, I would rather have an all around back that's really good at moving the chains and doesn't fumble and can catch than a guy with blazing speed that can't pass protect at all, drops the ball all the time, or fumbles constantly. So you give up a little bit in speed, you gain a lot in all of the other all around stuff that I like Devin Neal for. And what a great pick in the sixth round. At this point, day three is a home run for me. I'm excited. And then we get to round seven. Well, round seven is one of them things you're lucky you get a piece at all. It's kind of like prioritizing players for the undrafted free agency. Go and grab a guy that you don't want to compete to go and get a job somewhere else. You draft them and force them to play with you. That's what seventh round picks are. You're looking for special teamers, or you're looking for characteristics that could indicate a player that can get better and make it in the league. And I think that's what the Saints did here. I don't know if they were thinking of special teams with these two picks. They went with some measurables and some eye-popping talent that they didn't put it all together, but you can see it translate to the NFL. So we'll start with the first seventh round pick for the Saints, pick 248 overall. The Saints select tight end Moliki Matavoy. Matavoy. He's out of UCLA, big tight end. We knew we were going to address tight end. We should have in this class. Very deep. The Saints had a ton of connection to college tight ends here in the process leading up to the draft. We talked to Gavin Bartholomew out of Pitt. We talked to the kid out of Wisconsin or Nebraska. I thought one of those guys was the ones we were targeting. And when I saw them coming off the board in the sixth round, I thought, oh, the Saints might have screwed up. You could have got Tyler Warren in the first round. You could have got Mason Taylor in the second round, but here you are pushing it off till the seventh round, and I'm watching all these guys we interviewed get picked. Mitchell Evans goes, and Jackson Hawes goes, and my heart is broken. And then the Saints say, no, 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 wait. Moliki Matavoy, UCLA. Well, I remember him from the Senior Bowl. Let's talk about his measurables. 6 foot 6 inches, 260 pounds. This is a monster of a man, and you don't have to worry about this guy on the line blocking, run blocking. Not at all. He's got to work on his footwork. He's got to work on a lot of things to get better as a run blocker, but that's his forte. But that size, 6'6", 260, he showed at the Senior Bowl that he can be a red zone presence and he can catch the ball. He needs to work on his routes. He needs to work on his body control, stuff like that. But he's got decent hands. He's 22 years old, 9.5 inch hands, 32.5 inch arms. So I think Moliki looked good enough at the Senior Bowl that the Saints, put him on the short list, and I think they were focusing on tight end. It was another position that was pretty deep in the draft, and I thought if you wait till day three, you could really get a nice wide receiver, edge rusher, tight end, running back, defensive lineman. I thought there were a lot of good picks at those positions in the later rounds. I thought the tight ends were all but gone, but we're going to see what this guy has. Now, can he come in and compete with UDFA from last year, Dallin Holker? Well, we'll see. A seventh round pick, an undrafted guy. Holker needs to work on the run blocking, and Moliki needs to work on the passing game, the receiving. But put them both together, you might have a really good tight end. So we'll see. I've got a lot of faith that this guy has the physical tools to be able to do it and to be able to compete in the league. I mean, you could be talking about a number three tight end when it's all said and done here. And a few picks later, with almost Mr. Irrelevant, pick 254 in the seventh round of the 2025 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select edge rusher Fadil Diggs out of Syracuse. Another guy with a lot of talent on the edge. This class had a lot of talent on the edge, and there's a bunch that didn't get drafted. I'm excited about the undrafted guys. Subscribe to my channel because I will be doing a video about that tomorrow, breaking down everybody we get. And man, there are some players that I have on my list already. I mean, I'm thinking of Andrew Armstrong, wide receiver out of Arkansas. He didn't get drafted. I was hoping he was going to be one of these seventh round picks, the big bodied wide receiver that we need. Brew McCoy out of Tennessee, another big bodied wide receiver that didn't get drafted. DeCorian Clark out of Texas San Antonio. Man, I can go on and on and on. There's a lot of big bodied wide receivers out there, and the Saints are really good at finding them after the draft. So I'm excited about that. So I'll temper my hatred towards this seventh round. Just because I never mocked that tight end to the Saints doesn't mean he's not going to turn out good. But I did mock edge rusher Diggs to the Saints a few times. He's just got a lot of measurables that you like. 6 foot 4 inches, 257 pounds. I mean, he's bigger than a linebacker. He's not quite as big as a defensive end, but it's that tweener guy that can be an edge presence for us that can fit in this defense. And like I said, we need all types. We got a 311-pound defensive tackle in Broughton that can play on the line. He'll be lined up against the offensive line, and he can do it down in and down out, regardless of the front for the Saints. And so that's great. We also wanted a linebacker type edge rusher, and we get that in Diggs. 257 pounds. That's a nice size. He'll be able to get on the line and stand up and come after the quarterback. So he's got to work on his run defense. That's an issue. But when you're grabbing a guy like this in the seventh round, it's a skill set that we don't have a lot of. We're wanting Foskey to turn into this player, and now we got a piece. If he doesn't work out, no big deal. Seventh round pick, seventh round pick. It's okay if he just comes in on passing downs and chases after the quarterback. It's going to be okay. It's not like Foskey, who's a second round pick, and you want him to be an every down player. This guy can't even get on the field to rush the passer. So we'll see if this defense brings the best out of Foskey. I keep saying the F word. And now I'll say the D word, Diggs. 33 and 3/8 inch arms. That is massively long arms. 10 and 3/8 inch hands. Massive hands. This guy works on his run defense. He's got the tools to do it. 23 years old. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about the potential of Diggs turning into a really good player. I think at 257, he might give you some snaps on special teams too. But ideally, with Diggs, it's the kind of player I was targeting for the Saints in the late rounds as a guy that's just going to be rushing the passer on passing downs with that body type that we don't have. A smaller guy who can go out there and mix things up in different downs, but ultimately be an edge presence and rush the passer. I think Diggs out of Syracuse can do just that. And it's okay if it doesn't work out because it's a seventh round pick. So there you go. All together, 5 picks on day 3. Linebacker Danny Stutzman out of Oklahoma. Cornerback Quincy Riley out of Louisville. Running back Devin Neal out of Kansas. Tight end Moliki Matavo. Matavo? Somebody's going to have to tell me how to say that one. Out of UCLA, formerly of Oregon. And edge rusher Fadil Diggs out of Syracuse. Altogether, I really enjoyed this day. The tight end threw me for a loop. I was hoping for Andrew Armstrong at that point. He doesn't get drafted. Like I said, I'm excited about the undrafted guys. We're going to probably bring a few in, get a few confirmed before the night's over. I'm going to wait until we have the whole list of 16 before I do a video. If we don't get that list up to 16 before tomorrow's over, though, I'm going to produce a video tomorrow. That'll come out tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night. Hopefully, I can get all 16 of them in there. If it doesn't happen, we'll just catch the rest later. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I love the Saints. I love talking about them. I've been covering the draft for months, and now it's time to cover the team. We're going to have roster breakdowns. We're going to talk about everything that we're doing in the off season. And of course, in the regular season, I break down every game, pregame, postgame, until we start to suck again so bad they're not worth doing it. And at that point, I'll be covering next year's draft. But it's all Saints all the time on my channel. Subscribe, it's free. I could use all the help I can get, just like the Saints. And let's hope these guys turn out to be something worth cheering for, Who Dat Nation. Until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Who Dat?